Morning everyone. I have got myself a new front bumper. It's for a GSI, but it's for a model that would have had fog lights, which this car didn't. I'm not particularly bothered. If somebody wants to fit fog lights to it, they're ready for it. At the moment it's got some crappy grille pieces in, but they'll probably come out before it goes to paint, and when I get it back from paint I'll work out what to do with it. I might, well, I don't know, get to that bit later. Looking at this front wing, this really is the only bit of rust on the car, and since this front end is going to be painted, or the bonnet and that bumper, it seems silly not to do this wing as well. It's also got a bit of a crappy mark there where it used to have a mud flap, I think. So I'm going to take the wing off and then repair that while I can get to both sides of it. I did look online for additional wings or a replacement wing, and you can get them, but it's sort of 50 quid plus a tenner postage, and you know, it's here, it's in my hand, and it's not going to take probably much more than about an hour to fix that, and it won't cost too much more in terms of paint and prep to get that filled nicely and done. You can see what a rust trap that area is, but fortunately it looks to have survived very well. There's even some cavity wax in there. It's really not a bad wing at all, this. I could have bought worse off eBay. That flange all the way around up to there is good. It's just really that section and a bit in here that's gone. The rest of it looks nice, including up around here and all these brackets. So I'm going to replace that bit. Rust no more. I'm hoping that I can cut this out of here. So they have similar profiles. This actually steepens in angle here and opens up there, so somewhere along here that's going to be close. Right, have my donor section, and I think that's going to work quite nicely. I might take a template off the other wheel arch and reverse it just to make sure I get it cock on, but that's actually pretty damn good. The only slight problem is we have a hole there for a plastic captive thread, so I'll have to weld that up and then chop that bit off. This whole flange is actually a little bit deeper from that bubble wing to the R8 wing, but I can chop that off once it's welded in. The only other slight decision to make is whether I go for a butt weld joint or an overlap, because this will need to be filled. My preference is, considering I can get to the back side of this as well, is to butt weld it in nicely and do a good job. I just have to be careful about distortion, but that's plan A. So I'm going to clean the remainder of the paint off there and off here, probably fill that in first, then I'll do the final shaping and trimming and then tack that in, weld it. I had an unintended consequence of welding that bit up. Basically, it that heat, so much heat in there, distorted it so that that panel was bending in ways that it hadn't before I put that weld in. So what I've done is cut slots in the underside so that I've got a bit of flexibility now when I tack that in, so that I can manipulate the bend so that it fits nicely. Before it would have curved out slightly and rolled in, whereas now I've got a bit more freedom to bend it at will to make it fit there. So I'm going to tack that front end in and then just gradually tack the rest of it together until I get to the rear end. That's my repair patch tacked in. The shape is actually pretty good, so got a good curve all the way around in that direction, and then when you look at it from this side it is straight too, so I'm happy with that. I do have a few gaps to fill in, so this is going to take some time consuming and rather boring welding because I don't want to put heat in there and distort it or blow holes. So this will be an extremely long but sped up montage type video. I'm just going along filling in the holes where it rises up, tapping it down with this and the hammer, and just that same old boring process. Okay, that's in there. It's not artwork, as I've said many times before, but the curve is right. There are some imperfections obviously from the heat, but it's all stuff that can be sorted with a tiny skim of filler. Trimmed the wheel arch lip back, that's okay. Then inside I cleaned the welds up, and where I wasn't sure that I'd got great penetration, or where I had sort of got a bit paranoid I'd welded too much off from the other side, I just put a beader weld in as well to hold it all together. So I'm gonna go and get some Hydrate 80 and some Bonder primer and clean all that out again, then treat it. And same in this corner here where we've got some very fine surface rust starting, so better just to nip that off now while I can. Well, that's looking a lot healthier than it was about an hour ago, so that's nice. I'm glad I've taken this wing off and I've saved it, because it's quite remarkable again how rust free this thing is. In that sort of seam at the back, absolutely nothing. Then in that area I've just treated the front, but if you look here, that's still original green paint there. No rust in the front there. And down in that bottom corner, I'll clean it all out later, but just from eye I can see there's no rust. So I'm going to wait for all that first lot to go off. Then I'll come back, I'll clean the entire back side of that, and then I'll paint it in something to give it a bit more protection. Probably just silver hammerite top coat, because I know I've got some left somewhere from when I was messing around with Dotty. Just started fitting up the front of the car again. Unfortunately I haven't got any M5 nuts, so my little brackets will have to wait for another time, but I can put the rad on with new M6. All fits nicely, which is good. And I'll go dig out the battery tray and the bracket for the airbox in a minute, fit those as well. Well, the front of the car is looking altogether much healthier. I haven't got any copper slip with me today, or anti-seize compound, so I haven't bothered putting all of the nuts and bolts in properly, because that's just gonna corrode again, so I want all of those to be protected. The rad and the fans are in. Still haven't got quite the right bolts, but they're on order. The other brackets and things that go in the top I'm not going to fit yet, because obviously they have to come off when the thing gets painted, but the radiator's not going to fall out and the fan's not going to hit anything, so I'm happy that I can run the engine and I won't have a problem. I've also fitted the front cans back on the front and put a bit of black on that cooling loop just to make it look all right. Washer bottles back in again, haven't done it up properly because I want copper slip on there first, but yeah, I'm going to leave that like it is for today, and then when the bonder primer has gone off and I've done the final fastenings, I can start it up, drive it about a bit, and then load it up and get it to the body shop.